were killed in clashes with Chinese soldiers last month. Mr. Modi told his forces that the age of expansionism was over. China and India have blamed each other for the violence along the disputed border. Malaysia has become the latest country to suspend Pakistani pilots following allegations that many of them hold dubious licenses. A civil aviation official said the pilots would be reinstated once their licenses had been jointly verified by the Malaysian and Pakistani authorities. Restrictions are being reintroduced in both Israel and the occupied West Bank as a resurgence in coronavirus cases causes new concern. Infections in Israel have surged to their highest peak since April, while Palestinian officials have reimposed a full lockdown. Tom Bateman reports from Jerusalem.
In the West Bank, movement between cities is to be heavily restricted, while most shops will close for 5 days. Nearly 70 new coronavirus cases were recorded on Thursday. With 11 people in intensive care, fears are returning that the creaking health system would be overwhelmed if cases grew. Israel's dramatic resurgence has seen more than 1,100 new cases in 24 hours. On top of new restrictions on indoor gatherings, there are localised lockdowns in parts of the cities of Lod and Ashdod.
A French appeals court has rejected a request to reopen an investigation into the shooting down of a plane carrying the Rwandan president Juvenal Habyarimana 26 years ago. The incident sparked the Rwandan genocide, in which 800,000 people were killed. An inquiry was launched at the request of relatives of the French plane crew who died. Correspondents say the case has already strained relations between France and Rwanda, and both countries will welcome the latest decision. BBC News.
明天的希望无限，听见台北的人情味，全世界火力在线，全都在台北 Radio。
公民总主笔，
方恩格时间。
当家抢先报，你不能不知道。
今天晚上公民总主笔方恩格的时间，我们邀请到的来宾是台湾新天鹅堡桌游的创办人悠悠。来自德国的悠悠将带领我们认识桌游的世界，并且分析桌游在电竞游戏时代仍然大受欢迎的原因。如果你正在烦恼夏天要找什么样好玩的活动，其实台北有很多很棒的咖啡馆，可以让桌游玩家聚会，并且来参加比赛。因此在今晚的节目中，我们就一起来了解新天鹅堡即将举行的桌游聚会和世界杯的赛事相关资讯。
谁当家？
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 你当家？
谁当家？谁当家？
谁当家？
谁当家？我当家？你当家？我当家？
我当家？
到底谁当家？你来当家。
Welcome to Residence Messenger Program with your host, Ross Darrell Feingold on the Taipei Broadcasting Station. Today we are joined by Johannes Goeth. Johannes, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Johannes is in the board game industry. His company is called Swan PanAsia. That's why Yo-Yo, and we'll get to why your name is Yo-Yo, but we'll before we get to why your name is Yo-Yo, tell us about why your company is named Swan PanAsia and why you have this adorable swan hat.
Well, that's our company uniform.
You wear this at the office?
Yes, of course. No, I wear it at our Swan conventions so that people really know that's a Swan convention and they will remember forever.
Just in case they walk into the wrong one. You want to make sure they can see you.
And, well, why we are Swan? At the beginning, we had to look for a name for the company. So I asked some Taiwanese, what do you connect with Germany? And mostly answers were Mercedes or BMW,
manufactured products,
beer, Hitler, and also Castle Neuschwanstein. Maybe some of you have heard about this castle. It's a famous castle, maybe the most famous castle in Germany, Neuschwanstein, which means New Swan Stone Castle. So this sounded to me more better than the others.
Yeah, it would be a good name. So which part of Germany did you grow up in?
Really, not far from this castle.
Okay.
So in the southern part of Germany, close to Austria.
Now, when you were growing up, because you mentioned that Germany is famous for things like Mercedes and engineering, and a lot of people become engineers, just like in Taiwan, where science is very important. When you were growing up, did you say to yourself, I want to be a board game maker when I grow up?
Oh, no, I never thought of being a businessman when I was growing up. I think, first of all, I wanted to be a sportsman because I was fast and could jump very
so you're
far.
into kind of athletics, track and field.
I would like to. But I had some problems with my knees later and I couldn't.
So you found an activity where you just have to sit at the table.
Yes.
But when you were growing up, though, there's kind of that period of time when there were video games started to become more common in the home. So even I remember when I was a child, initially if I wanted to play a video game, you'd have to go to a store, an arcade, where they had the big Pac-Man machine. But eventually, in the mid-'80s, there were things like Atari and ColecoVision that you could play at home. You could hook up to your television. But did you play board games or video games when you were growing up?
So first, board games. Board games were our choice when it was rainy. So I was growing up in a village, only 5,000 inhabitants. So normally we played outside in the forests, anything you play in the forests. And if it was raining, then we played board games, basically all the day or all the weekend,
and
non-stop.
What were some of the popular board games?
At that
Do you remember the English or the Mandarin name?
Risk was popular. And then we had a new kind of... It was called Armageddon, so the last battle on Earth. It was a huge game, maybe 2 meters by 2 meters. It was crazy at that time. It was so real, similar to computer games later, but on a board.
And of course, there were things like Dungeons and Dragons.
Similar, but 10 years before that.
Well, you don't have to tell us your age.
But for video games, I had to wait once a year when we went to Italy for vacation, because only then I had the chance to go to a shopping mall where there were video games.
Where they had the big arcade size.
Yes. In my village, there was nothing like this.
And what did you study in university? Yo-yo?
In university, Chinese first, and also some Japanese and some psychology. And, well, I was also listening to law, business, but I thought this is nothing for me, so I mainly studied Chinese and
then
Japanese.
You came to Taiwan.
Well, after my long studies, I think 8 years or so, which is possible and just normal in Germany.
It's good. Yeah, when government pays for everything.
Yes, after graduation, I came to Taiwan.
And what kind of jobs did you have in Taiwan before you started your own company?
First, I worked at the German trade office for 3 years. And at the same time, I was already working for the Goethe Institute, teaching German.
Which a lot of people in Taiwan who have an interest in Germany would be familiar with.
And it was fun there. I also taught some children or some schools, and it was very difficult. Or teaching German at universities is difficult because most people maybe don't want to learn it, really. But at the Goethe Institute, it was fun because they really paid for it. They wanted to learn it.
They really wanted to be there.
Yes. And, well, I'm also, as a hobby, doing some radio program at another sender here in Taiwan, but it's a German program. Some kind of propaganda
for the government.
For the government, yes. But still okay. We are quite free there.
And why did you make the decision to open your own business?
Well, I was working in this office, and this was not my thing. After 3 years on working at the table, or
sitting at a
not
desk
playing on the table, but working on the table,
sitting in an office.
Yes.
And nothing wrong with working in the office.
Yeah, nothing wrong, but it was not my thing. And I was thinking, what can I do? What do I understand? And I was thinking back to the childhood when we played games all the time in the summer vacation, winter vacation, weekends, and that's something which I was really good in that time.
And then when you told friends or family, I'm going to open my own business doing board games, let me guess, did people say, Johannes, it is the video game era. What are you thinking with board games?
Yes, many people said so.
And now you're a great success. So.
My mother was quite depressed because how can you do this? You studied 8 years and now you're just selling some toys. Yes. So I think until now my mother does not understand what I'm doing or what we build up here in Taiwan.
Well, board games are for people of all ages. Maybe, you try to convince your mom to play some board games.
Whenever we play at home, she will not join. So that's quite interesting because when she was growing up, playing was just a sin, maybe. It was devil's work.
You should be studying, right?
Yeah, you should be studying, doing some useful things.
Now, when you began the business and you decided you have some ideas that you want to turn into a board game, for example, what were some of the challenges that you encountered?
Well, there are two things. I personally do not change anything into a board game. I mostly choose out of many board games, the board games which I think or which my staff thinks can be sold in Taiwan or is fun. So we just had to play a lot of board games, basically 10 board games a day in the first year and choose or let people in Taiwan play and let them tell us what they like most and then import it into Taiwan.
So typically you're looking around the world for a game that might have a chance to succeed in Taiwan.
Right.
But then you have to manufacture the local version.
Yes. Well, there are also two ways of production. One is to co-produce with the company, the original publisher, at their factory, which saves a lot of time and costs, basically, because we don't have to look for the right parts.
And the supplies.
Or, well, if it's only card games, then we prefer to license and produce in Taiwan at a Taiwanese factory.
And our Taiwanese factories, manufacturers, they have this capability. It's something that they are good at.
Yes, very good quality. Often, sometimes better than quality in Europe.
Well, why is that?
I don't know, because maybe Taiwanese are, or at least the factories we are working with, are some perfectionists. They import paper from Europe, and we can choose basically the same quality as at the factory in Europe.
What attracts Taiwanese board game players to a game that comes from another part of the world that's based on different culture, different history? And for example, you have some games here that you brought with you today that are based on, as you said before, European ideas. Why would Taiwanese be interested in a game from overseas?
I think first of all, they don't know where the games come from. So normal people don't know where they come from. They just play the games at one of our conventions or in board game stores, and if they like it, they just like it. They don't care about where it comes from. Sometimes I will tell them, oh, this game comes from Germany or from France or from Italy or Japan. And they say, oh, it comes from Germany, from France, from Italy, Japan. But actually it doesn't matter so much. There are only some board game geeks who say only games from Germany are good games or only games from America are good games. But these are not so many.
It's the challenge of the game that attracts the
players. Maybe the European game designers have more experience in developing games, more than Asian designers. So many board game geeks think that many games from Europe are better than games from other parts of the world, but it's just their opinion.
And of course, within Europe, games from Germany are the best. Right?
Some think so.
You're from Germany, so
I'm visiting a game fair in Germany every year, and there are about 1,000 new games, or maybe now 1,800 new games, and most of them are not good, in my opinion, and they really will vanish after 3 months. They are just on the fair. Everyone tries to sell as many copies as possible at this fair, and then you won't hear of them anymore. So only some survive, and these games are probably really good, replayable many times. That's a good game, probably.
Now, a lot of people in Taipei will play board games in cafes. Why is that a popular place for people to play? Instead of doing it, for example, at home, why do people like to do it in cafes?
Maybe many people think their home is too small. As many board games need a lot of space. Not all of them, but
give us some more details. Why would a board game need a lot? I mean, how big is a typical board game?
Well, we could use the whole table here, 2 meters by 1 meter, to play a really good board game.
So you cannot use the mahjong table that's in many homes.
Well, you could change it a little bit.
Yeah, but somebody in the family might get mad if you use the mahjong table that way.
That would be a sacrilege. We won't do this. So maybe that's one reason. Many think it's too crowded at home, or maybe they need to tidy up at home. Better go to a board game place, or they don't have so many games at home. If you go to a board game cafe, there is a selection of maybe 100 to 200 games you can choose from. You don't need to buy it. You just go there, even can have some drinks or food and play, enjoy with your friends.
About how many board game cafes would you estimate exist in Taipei?
In Taipei, well, I know in Taiwan are at least 300 board game cafes or board game stores, and there should be at least 1/3 in Taipei.
So the industry or the interest from the public is actually relatively large in Taiwan.
It was not so easy 18 years ago. When we started this business, no one knew even the word board game, 桌游. Nobody ever heard about this. I think we invented this word for this industry here, 桌上游戏. It was a new word at that time. And that was the most difficult part at the beginning.
But at the beginning, how did you get people interested? I mean, how do you even convince people to play? How do you convince cafe owners to open a cafe?
Yeah, it was very hard. Actually, nobody wanted to cooperate with us. So we just had to go to every small fair, because bigger fairs didn't want to take us. We started with small fairs, have a booth there, attract people by just inviting them to come and play with us. So that's probably the only way you can convince someone that this board game is good. If he has played it and if he liked it, he will play it again and will tell other people. So this was more mouth-to-mouth propaganda than anything else. And of course my hat, my Swan hat attracted people.
That's when you started wearing the hat. That's what I was going to ask.
Indeed, it was important. If I just had a T-shirt with a swan, nothing special, but if someone wears such a strange hat, there must be something special to offer.
And who's the typical board game player in Taiwan? Men, women, what's their age?
Oh, well, we can separate probably families, with papa, mama, and 2 or 1 children. That's one group. Then often mamas without papa, with their children, because papas think that this is the work of the mamas, they should play with the children. Then we have young couples or university students, or now, because we have done this for 18 years, also working class. After working the whole day, some want to...
So it's a good way for colleagues to get together after work.
Well, if you play simple games, yes. Simple games, fun games, party games, yes.
So couples too. So, for example, if I had a date,
yes,
I should recommend to her we play a board game.
You could sometimes, no, not always. She might think you're a boring guy, only playing board games. But sometimes you could surprise today we play a board game. There are some board games specially designed for 2. So they are specially balanced if 2 players play them. Well, who buys board games? Schools also.
And schools buy them for educational purposes, or just to give the kids an activity during
both
recess.
Some buy games and ask for a plan how to implement into lessons. So that's one of the customers, and the others buy it just for after-school lessons, both of them.
And is all of those examples you just mentioned, how does it differ in Taiwan versus other countries in Asia or your home country of Germany as far as who plays board games?
Well, in Korea, the educational sector is much more important. I think 95% of board games are sold for educational purposes.
And they use them in the school?
School or so-called schools or after schools.
The cram school.
Yes. In Japan, it's probably more difficult. They don't have so many board game cafes, so it's hard to spread the word about board games. I think rents are just too high there. It's not so easy as in Taiwan to open a board game store. In Thailand, the market is just evolving now. Also in Malaysia, they are probably now where we have been 10 years ago, and it's growing daily. And Philippines is difficult, too many separated islands. It's hard to have a functioning distribution system there.
Well, this is something that's interactive, not in an electronic way, but it's interactive in that, as you said, you want to go to cafes, you want to go to fairs like a book fair or a toy fair, and attract interest from players or stores. So you really need to interact with people to help them understand the product.
Right, and many people don't want to interact. They just want to watch a film. So they are sitting there more passively or read a book. Well, you are somehow into the story, but you don't need to act actively. So that's probably a big difference between board games and other cultural products.
And how do you keep growing the market in Taiwan, for example, for a next generation? As you say, you've been doing this 18 years.
Yes.
So as time goes by, how do you ensure that a next generation will be interested in playing board games?
That's what we are thinking about every day. So how can we, well, probably every business is thinking about this, and we, of course, also need to think about this every day, but probably the only effective way is still to attract more people to active playing, to have this interaction. Videos help somehow, but mostly only for people who played already. So they played a lot of board games, they bought a new game, they don't know how to play, they watch our instruction on the YouTube channel, but this is mostly for people who know board games already. So for people who don't know board games, it's very hard to get them into the community.
Give us an example of a board game that's been very popular in Taiwan in the past few years. Tell us the name and what you have to do.
So one of the games is Saboteur. Saboteur. Yes.
It sounds a bit violent. Saboteur.
Oh yes, it's about 10 dwarves.
Dwarves. Okay.
Well, it depends on how many are playing. If there are 5 people playing, then there are 5 dwarves. And there's at least one who is a saboteur, who tries to let the other dwarves not find the gold.
So the good guys is to find gold.
The good guys want to find the gold, and the bad guy wants to hinder them from finding it. And so you just play cards with digging tunnels into a mountain, and if you're successful, you will find the gold, and the good guys can share the gold. If the bad guy wins, he gets the gold alone. So it's a simple game which can be played for 3 or 10 players.
And it's been very popular.
Very popular because it's just a small card game, easy to take along, not too expensive, and well, just you can play it right away. You don't need to read a lot of rules.
And how long would it typically take to finish this game? If
this
you had 4
game,
or 5 players.
Well, maybe 20 minutes.
Oh, so fast.
So fast. There's an even faster game like Halligalli. It's a party game.
What's the Mandarin name for this?
The 德国心脏病, German heart attack. So it's about if there are 5 fruits of the same fruit on the table, you have to hit the bell. Just simple like this.
Does a bell come with the package?
Yeah, of course. Yes. You flip the cards, and as soon as there are 5 same fruits on the table, you must hit the bell. Exactly 5, not less, not more. Exactly 5. So that's all.
And it's a good seller. It's popular with
for
Taiwanese.
18 years. It's our best seller. Yes.
And is that one for? It sounds like it would be popular with children, but also popular with adults.
Yes, both. Yes, both. There's even Halligalli Extreme, another version, because the first version was so successful. So we have some Halligalli Extreme, Halligalli Party, Halligalli anything. It's okay.
And what are you working on as far as developing new games? Can you give us a little bit of a preview?
The new games for 2021.
Yeah,
of course, I cannot say anything about this. It's really hard to find new ways of playing. Many times I think, oh, I have played everything. I think there's no new game. And still, every year at this game fair in Germany, there's still some new game mechanisms or some new combinations of different game mechanisms which are interesting.
So the key message here would be, if you've played board games in your childhood or even when you're an adult, don't give up. Come back to go to the store or go to Swan PanAsia's website, because there's always something new. There's always a new idea. You said that one game is searching for gold, but there's always something new to search for.
Right. That's like life. It's like philosophy. You can search for anything, anytime, forever.
And has the virus situation had an impact on your business in a positive or a negative way?
I don't know yet, but sometimes we think, oh, more people play now because they cannot go out or cannot meet with so many people, so they play more at home, not so much at board game cafes. So somehow it affected board game cafes, so their business went down.
But aren't people buying games to play at home, though?
Yes, the sales are somehow better. So that's a strange situation. Some board games cafes say people are less than before, some say more than before. So I don't know how it comes. Such a big difference. Some are crowded at the weekends, some are empty now at the weekends. So both ways are possible.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk a bit more after our break about getting together at cafes and competitions, because several important board game competitions are upcoming here in Taipei. You're listening to Residence Messenger on Taipei Broadcasting Station.
再难回答，我知道你要真心话，真心话有时听了很假。也许只是你的头发，也许是你开车的方法，也许是你偶尔的肉麻，也许你就是那个他。亲我的指头，记我的青春痘，喜欢牵我的手，准时交代行踪，拒绝别的诱惑，你的世界只有我。真的很爱，风花雪月可以安排，痴心的人只能等待。他们说爱虚无缥缈，其实全看你做了多少。感冒没洗澡依然拥抱，明知笑话不好依然得笑。笑话不好依然得笑，会帮我掏耳朵，会亲我的
收听台北广播电台 FM 93.1 AM 1134，让你的心情嗨起来。大家好，我是陈09。
宝贝呀，快快起床啦！快去刷牙，快吃早餐喽！快穿鞋子，快点，我们要出门喽！
妈妈，快点，要迟到了呢！
宝贝呀，什么都可以快，但是开车是绝对快不得的。
对啊，开车不超速，安全又愉快哦。
台北玩很大，6月到8月，龙舟赛、亲子同乐清水节、立式划桨独木舟、熊赞水乐园，还有浪漫的大稻埕情人节烟火，好多活动，让爱没有距离。夏天来了，台北准备好喽，赶快跟上脚步，一起享受吧！详情请上台北旅游网查询。以上内容由台北市政府观光传播局提供。
华南市场将在7月18号上午8点办理先物促销，7月25号办理开幕活动，地点在台北市万华区环河南路2段245号，欢迎就与新知莅临。更多好康，请上台北市市场处网站查询。以上内容由台北市市场处提供。
Welcome back to Residence Messenger Program with your host Ross Darrell Feingold on Taipei Broadcasting Station. Our special guest today, Johannes Goeth.
Thank you. Hello again.
From Swan PanAsia, board game manufacturer, importer here in Taipei. Tell us a little bit about some of the things that are on your website about upcoming events and competitions for beginners as well as for experienced board game players.
Well, let us begin with beginners, because experienced board gamers maybe think they're too experienced to come to our competitions or to our board game conventions, and they really are. So normally at our conventions, we will start with beginners games.
So that's an important point, right? Beginners should not be discouraged. The events, the competitions, they're welcoming for beginners.
Yes, of course. We have employed, I think, at least 30 persons to introduce new games to you.
So just walk in and say, I don't know what to do.
Yes, you don't need to pay anything. You just need to pay for the ticket for the MRT to on Sunday. This Sunday. Yes, this Sunday.
July 5th.
5th of July, from 10 to 17 at Sanchong Tiguan. Cailiao Station. It's, I think, the Orange Line, MRT line, Orange Line, Cailiao Station. Just go there, go in, and normally you see people waving. Here's a place free to play, or we are looking for another person to join in. Normally we play games with 4 or 5 persons at a table. And yes, just go there and join anywhere. If you don't know the other people, it does not matter at all.
You'll make friends.
You'll make friends, yes.
And this event is called SwanCon.
Swan PanAsia Convention.
Okay.
Yes, Swan PanAsia Convention, SwanCon in short, but officially Swan PanAsia Convention.
And is this meant to, just as you said, introduce games to beginners, or is it also a competition with prizes and things like that?
Over the time, we have several things. Yes, right now we have, I think, puzzle competitions, game competitions, lucky draw if you played a lot. I think if you played at least 6 games, you get stamps, and you can put this into a lucky draw box, and at the end of the day, we will have some lucky draws. Yeah. We also have big games are normally games are in a box, right? So we sometimes do a giant version of the game, so you can play it on the floor, which is also fun for many people.
So it's like a life-size
game.
You can actually like walk onto the board yourself.
Actually, I don't know exactly what else we have, because that's the event department is planning all of this. They don't want me to.
They don't want you
to have too many ideas, because I'm very mind changing. So sometimes I say, "Oh, let's do this," and in the next minute I say, "Oh no, let's do it the other way." And that's probably was good at the beginning of the company founding, because that time it was the other way around. We tried to join some events, and then they said, "Oh no, you cannot join," so we had to think of something else and join somewhere else. But right now, company is quite stable, and staff doesn't wish to have too many changes, and I think they might make a great job.
So SwanCon on Sunday, it's good for children. It's also good for adults. It's good for families.
For everyone, basically, also for the elder people. We have a very clear, I think so, a very clear map for children games. Children games are at this corner, and the games for elder people are at this corner.
So it's good for grandma and grandpa as well.
Also, yes, and games for gamers, so gamer geeks are at this corner, and competition area is here, puzzle area is here, so it should be quite clear now. Just go there and join.
Okay, so at SwanCon on Sunday, you said there'll be older people, children, beginners, and the gamer geeks. Tell us about why the gamer geeks are going to be there, and what are they looking to achieve?
Maybe there's some games which they have not played yet and don't know yet whether to buy or not. So they want to try it first, and if they like it, they might buy it. Or they try it and say, "Oh, that's similar to this or that game. I think I have this kind of games already, so I won't buy it." So both is possible. And many of them also like to be with many people playing games, so with many people doing the same hobby. It's also an important experience, even for gamer geeks.
Are they there to show off their skills? And
I think so.
Some let other people in the gaming community know how good you are. So
I think so. Some of them, not all of them, but of course, if they join the competition, they also want somehow to show off so their skills.
So for people who want to get into the competition, is it going to take the whole day? They're going to be playing game
if you're good, then it will take the whole day, because if you are good, you have to play again and again until the end of the day. And well, for some games you even can fly to Germany to the World Championships, which are probably postponed to next year because of the virus. But still, we have competitions now, and I think we sent both the Taiwanese national winner of this year and Taiwanese national winner of next year. Both of them will go to the German championships next year if the Corona situation allows it.
So there's a global world board game championship?
Yes, there are some board games like Carcassonne. It's a street and castle building game. It has world championships. Also, Catan is a game more with trading and building, also has world championships. And Saboteur, the game we mentioned before, also, although it's just a simple card game, it also has world championships, always at different cities in Europe, which is quite interesting. I think last year they were in Riga, and this year it should have been at Portugal, so it's also interesting where they do all these world championships.
Has anyone from Taiwan won
yes.
world championship yet?
No. Some of Taiwan has won the national championships, of course, but I think so far it was close. I think there was a small time fault, so he placed his card 1 second too late and he missed the championship.
He was penalized for this?
Yes, it was penalized. There was a send timer, and he was, I think, 1 second too late, and he just missed probably the world championship for Carcassonne.
It sounds kind of similar to chess competitions.
No, of course, it's not so...
not so serious.
Yes, it's... but of course, if you are joining, then for you as a player, it's serious. But for most people watching audience, it's not so serious as chess.
What about?
I think it's more. Sorry. Sometimes I have the feeling at chess competition that's after some rounds everything is settled. So they know these situation has been here at the world before. So if I do this now, then the other person will win.
They know what the moves will be.
Yeah, and I think it's more different with board games because there are not so many analysts who have analyzed this board game and the special situations of it.
How do you compete with esports and these video games that are so popular nowadays?
We don't compete with them. we cannot compete with them. You mean our board games?
How do you keep the public engaged with the board games?
Well, we think, or we know that many e-gamers also play board games. So it's not a this or that situation. It's both. And many e-gamers won't play board games. That time it's I play this and not that situation. Both situations are here. But we never thought of competing with them. It's impossible to compete with a game which is played by millions of people worldwide, and our board games maybe only thousands of people. So that's the relation. We cannot compete with this.
But you tell them it's good mental training, right?
Yes, we just can compete with ourselves, with our own results. So try to get more and more people involved. Or every convention is for us a risk. We invest into the venue, the people we hire, so maybe only 10 people come.
Hopefully you'll get
we normally have 1,000 people coming.
So SwanCon, for example, on Sunday, you would expect about 1,000 people.
Yes, we hope so, yes. That's our experience. Maybe even more now because the winter convention was cancelled because of Corona. So we hope so, but you never know. So please come make this convention more fun. The more people come, the more fun for everyone.
And most activities would be in Mandarin at the SwanCon.
Yes. Except if there's an only English speaker, I try to help out with my German accent English. I try my best.
And you'll wear your swan hat.
Yes, you will recognize me at once. Sometimes I hide away. I'm getting older and older, and sometimes I need to take a rest, really, because it's so loud. And if you speak all the day and explain again and again, sometimes you need to take a break.
And when are the national championships that you mentioned? When do those typically occur?
Please look at our website. I don't remember now, but normally 2 or 3 months before the World Championships. So which is in October, November normally, so it should be.
So usually it would be around the summer is when the national championships would occur.
Me personally, or
the national championships would be held usually in the summer.
Normally at our conventions in Taipei, Taichung, or Kaohsiung, at our main conventions. We also have some conventions in smaller cities: Tainan, Hualien, Ilan, Hsinchu. But the the competitions are held at the Taipei, Taichung, or Kaohsiung convention. So please look at our websites which championship is held.
And after the summer months, kids go back to school. Are they still going to be playing board games when they start school, or is summer the time when you really get the kids interested?
I think so. Yes. Normally, we sell all over the year as far as sales numbers are related. Often Christmas and New Year and Chinese New Year are the mainly
it's a gift.
Yes. Or maybe they have more time in winter. I don't know. Winter vacation, maybe in summer vacation, they're going out in the mountains or to some shopping malls to have the aircon. But normally the sales are quite constantly during the year, but more at Christmas, New Year, and Chinese New Year.
And but before someone goes out and buys a game, if they were to go to the store, what's your advice to them? I mean, is your advice, say, like you said, go to a convention first, go to the website, watch your videos? How should someone who's never done any gaming pick the right game for them?
Yes, that's my general advice. Always is first play, then decide. I don't dare to recommend any game to anyone.
What about a parent who wants to buy a gift for their children?
I tell them you have these options, basic options, but I don't dare to tell them you must buy this one. I tell them go to a board game store, play with your children, let them choose because they want to play this game later. So it's sometimes quite different. Some children want to, before the program today, I was at a middle school. So and I taught games to them, 17 students.
What age were the students?
About 14. Some said, oh, we want to play something without using our brains, just a party game. And the other table just said the opposite. I want to think. I don't want to play these no-brainers. I want to play something serious. So
well, that's interesting because the education system in Taiwan is very challenging, right? The kids get a lot of work, a lot of science and math, and they said to you, we want a game that makes us think.
Some of them, yes.
Only some. Well, let's focus on those.
Okay. Yes, I think they want to show their skills, as you said before. They want to show off their skills, or they maybe think, yes, I'm intelligent, so I should play intelligent games, or games which make me even more intelligent, which is not always the truth.
So parents who are listening to this show, please encourage your schools to invite Yo-Yo to come in. And
I'm happy to go to every school.
In Taiwan.
My lifetime won't be enough. But indeed, I'm often going to remote schools. They normally don't have so much budget to buy games, so I just give away games for free. So if your school has no budget to buy games, contact me, not the other staff at our company. Contact me, because only I can make decisions which games can be donated to schools or to other charities.
And you'll do training as well.
I will go there because sending staff there would be too expensive. So I do this job by myself. Yeah.
Well, that's great, and it's a good way to develop another generation of gamers when you do that.
That's right. Yes. Normally they are so happy when I'm coming to somewhere at Alishan or in Hualien, in the southwest parts of Hualien. So they are so happy when I'm coming there, and even more happy when I'm playing with them. It's always something they never forget.
And when you go in and teach kids how to play a new game, how much time does that? I mean, how many hours do you have to spend with them?
If I go to the southern part of Hualien, I will spend at least a half a day at one school and half a day at another school. I try to visit as many places as possible.
So you would spend about four hours teaching the kids.
Well, yes, at least different games.
And you will do that in Mandarin, correct?
Yes, but if some teachers wish me to speak in my German English, then I will do so.
Yeah, give them an English language learning experience as well. We only have a few more minutes. So what's the future of board games? Just very quickly, tell us from your perspective as somebody who's in the
question
business.
I'm most afraid of. No one knows the future, so I also don't know about the future of board games, but it seems that it's quite safe in crisis times like this now, Corona. But on the other way, no industry is safe, so also the board game industry is not safe. I don't know. I don't know about the future, really. But as I said before, there are always new game ideas, surprisingly, coming onto the market. And this has been so the past 20 years. I hope so it will be
20 more years.
20 more years, at least, yes.
Yeah. And what is your website? Where can people get information about SwanCon on Sunday?
It's Swan PanAsia, one word, SwanPanAsia.
SwanPanAsia.
PanAsia.com.
SwanPanAsia.com for more information about SwanCon, playing board games, buying board games, learning how to play board games.
Inviting me to come to your place to play board games.
You even go to people's homes, right?
Yes, I do everything.
Great. And it's just so great to see that this kind of industry can continue to develop here in Taiwan, something that came from overseas. You brought it to Taiwan.
Not only me. So there were many people helping us to do this at the beginning for free. They helped us for free, which was surprisingly, and now it is surprising me that no one is helping for free anymore.
but board games are alive and well in Taiwan. So thank you so much. I've been joined by Johannes Goeth, Yo-Yo of SwanPanAsia, board game company here in Taiwan. Have a great weekend. You've been listening to Residence Messenger on Taipei Broadcasting Station.
因为有了你，我无处可逃，风沙滚滚。